mom life. All right. Hi, guys. All right. Give me, there we go. Just give me a minute. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. Need to get everything started. We are going to be talking about being a new mom during COVID and learning true patience. Give me 1 minute. I'm also going live on Instagram. I want to make sure I have that going. Okay. All right. Okay, so I am also going live from my Create Your Destiny Instagram page. Welcome, guys. I usually do this live from Instagram on my DJ Sid official page. Kind of decided to separate the two brands because one's more focused on inspiration and the other is more of my music. So I wanted to make that a clear boundary for you guys to be able to follow one or the other if you care for more about one. So more over one than the other. So hi, hello and welcome. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. Create your destiny by taking charge of your life. I am your host, Sid Tran. Many of you know me as a DJ. I'm also a music curator, event producer, film producer, co-founder, and music and talent outreach director of Pax Musicana, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. I'm also a partner of Ramatu Fafana Shoes, which is a women's luxury shoe brand that manufactures in South Africa. I started two businesses in the past, which one is an events production company that is still being run by my very good friend. I decided to hand that over to her, and I'm so proud of where she has taken it. It's called High Caliber Events. And the second being a food truck business that I started with my brother. He has sold that since the last 2 years, I believe. I started this podcast for having passion with conversations with people who are experts in their field. This is the first time that I'm actually not having someone that I interview today, unfortunately. So you're stuck with me for the next 30 minutes. And one thing I really wanted to talk about is being a new mom during COVID and learning patience. It's been quite a journey. And so I'm going to kind of give an overview of some things that I am going to talk about today, which is self-care, patience, getting into a routine, which is ever changing when you're a new mom. So being flexible is important. Having a support system, if you are fortunate to have that, really understanding your finances, your future, your goals, your love life, your family life. So those are just, some things I'm going to really try to cover today as far as for me personally, and hopefully it would be advantageous for you guys to walk away with something that is beneficial for you to create your life that you want to be able to live. So for me, self-care is the most important because if you don't take care of yourself, first and foremost, that what energy will you have to give to another individual? And it's hard to say because we end up, saying we don't have the time, we sacrifice that, and that just goes in the burner. And so, yeah, you don't have time to look good 24/7 or even at all. And that's not about self-care. Self-care is your mental, your physical, your spiritual, everything, just as long as you're in a space that you can take care of another being, because you have to be 100% for another individual in order to give them your best. So you need to be at your best. So for me, my personal routine when it comes to self-care, and some days it's going to be shorter than others because like I said, your schedule is constantly changing when you're raising a child. And so for me, the first thing I really try to do before my son wakes up, and sometimes he wakes up earlier than usual, sometimes he'll sleep in, and other times he might wake up and go right back to sleep while in the middle of meditating. So for me, some things that I do as a self-care ritual is I wake up in the morning, make sure I have my glass of water. If I can, make a glass of tea. And then really try to take the time to meditate and have a moment for myself and take a moment to reflect and be grateful for everything that I have been blessed with. And so when you start your day with gratitude, it takes away a lot of the negativity that you can feel sometimes because you feel a lot of pressure when you're a new mom. And sometimes you don't always feel your best. And so for you to be able to fill your own cup first before you pour out of it is so important. And so I can't stress it enough. If you don't have like 5 minutes, try 1 minute a day. Just and eventually get into that so that you put yourself first. And so self care is important, it's critical. I hope that you guys are able to make that a part of your day and then you're able to be your best throughout the day. And another thing that I've been learning is patience. Whew, let me take a breath because literally you don't understand what real patience is until someone is at your beck and call 24/7. And it's not like you can just like walk away from them and be like, whatever. I mean, sometimes you need to, if you really need that, you need to get yourself aligned and you need to take a breath before you flip out because that's one thing that I learned. And, I think every new parent is learning, or even if you are a parent of five, becoming a new mom every single time that you have a new child is always going to be a different challenge because each child is so special and they are their own individual. And we have to realize that they have different needs. And so you have to be able to identify what it is and learn that patience because for me, it's like, okay, I just fed you. You're still crying. Okay, your diaper is wet. Your diaper is wet and I need to change you. Okay, I change you. You're dry. You're still crying. Um, I know you were teething last week, but your teeth broke through, so it can't be your teeth. And then you go down the list of things that you're like, "Oh my god, I did it. Why are you still crying?" And so you are on edge like 24/7 because you're just like, why are you and you might explode. But give yourself a minute and take a step back and say, what is the one thing that we all desire the most? Love and affection, right? That's what we want the most. And so maybe that's what your baby wants. He or she just wants a little love and give him that love at that time if you can. But if you feel like you need to step away and take a breath, put your baby down, because energy is everything. And I say that because if you're feeling irritated and annoyed and you're anxious, that energy is exuberating off of you. And then the baby really thinks that it's his fault or her fault. And so if you need to take a moment for yourself, put the baby down and take a breath. Mind the time, obviously. And if you feel like you've been stepping away from your baby longer than normal, then maybe check with your doctor. Maybe there's something more underlying. Maybe you do have postpartum depression. And it's okay because that is normal for women to feel that way. So, make sure you take care of yourself. That goes back to self-care. Um, and so it's important that we do have that taken care of first. And then the other thing is routine, right? The baby is ever evolving, ever changing, ever learning. And so you think you get into a routine, and then next thing you know, the baby decides he doesn't want to sleep at that time. He doesn't want to take a nap at that time. Or his naps used to be 4 to 5 hours long, and now they're like 15 minutes here, 45 minutes there, an hour and a half there, and 2 hours there, and it goes back to what? It goes back to patience, so it's something that is you can't always be comfortable, right? So you have to understand that your baby's constantly changing and growing and learning and stimulated, and so you have to just learn and say, "You know what? You're changing, you're evolving, and I accept you and I choose you as is, and I'm going to learn this process with you." And so doing that and accepting it is so much easier than the resistance, because that's where it makes it a lot more difficult and for you to grow impatient and for you to have those moments where you're going to explode, So try your best to do the most that you can to be understanding, um, and that goes a long way. Support. For me personally, I'm very grateful and I'm so thankful for his grandparents. His grandparents have been amazing in helping me raise my son. I I don't know how I would do it without them, and I don't know, and especially with his father, like, he's been hands-on and super incredible. So I'm really grateful for that, and so I know that some of us don't have that support system, and it's really difficult, especially if you're a single mom and you're doing it on your own. What do you How do you cope? I personally can't tell you because I don't know, um, because I know for me, I have moments where I just wanna give up, and I'm like, "Oh my god, take him because I cannot deal anymore," and I'm grateful that someone is there to say, "I will take care of this baby so that you can, get yourself together and be the best you can when you come back." Not everyone has that opportunity to have that support system, so for me, I I know, well, in a way, I do understand that because I was raised by a single mom, and she's endured so much, and for me, the best that I could do was to be as supportive as I could, but when you're a newborn, you don't know anything, right? So it's like, how can you just stop crying because you know your mom is by herself and no one's helping? So you don't know that, and so it's just the level of patience and understanding goes a really long way, and, I just give it up to those parents that are doing it on your own, single parents from single moms and single dads. Really, kudos to you. Thank you for what you do. Because honestly, it's difficult for me, and I have a support system that is there whenever I need them, and I'm truly grateful. So I, I really am, feeling that for you. Okay, so finances. All right, for me personally, um, my baby, he came. He was a surprise, and the thing is, he was unplanned, but whoever, the universe, God, Allah, whoever you believe in, has something else planned for you. And so for me, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a child, and now my plans have to go on pause and they have to stop. For me, I was in the middle of applying to dental school. I was getting everything aligned and ready to go and getting ready to study for my DATs, and now I'm pregnant. Was I mad? Yeah, I was, a little upset, but I also was grateful because, to be real honest, um, I didn't think I was able to have a child. And so I was like, "Okay, the universe, God another plan for me." And you have to trust that. You have to trust that there is another plan for you. And so the goals and the plans that you have accordingly is gonna change. And it doesn't mean that it's never gonna happen, but it means that at this point in time, there is something else. There's another purpose that you need to fulfill in your life before you get to the other place. And so for me, I was like, all right, financially, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to work up until this point. I am going to pay off all my debt as best to my ability before this child comes into the world because I want one less thing to be concerned about. So I'm planning for the future in a way that I never did before. And I was so proud of myself when I was able to completely pay off my school loans, my credit card debts, my debt that was accumulated by family that I took responsibility for. Um, and by the time my son came, I was so grateful because he was born in October. And because of that, I was very lucky that I didn't get pregnant later because then I don't know how women are giving birth in hospitals right now during COVID, but my heart And I'm praying for you because that has to be so scary. And so, once I knew that all my finances were okay and that I had, done so much and saved as much as I could, that I took a little bit of time off. Um, and so now, fast forward to COVID, like my finances are okay. So I'm not stressed out about all this debt that's accumulating. I'm not stressed out about um, money not being saved because I don't have work anymore. Um, and I'm grateful. So all of my energy and is really focused on raising my son. Um, and so now, like, we're kind of wondering, how do we cope with this new future, right? What is what is the next thing that we're going to be able to do? Like, because I don't know. For me, I'm a DJ, right? Am I going to go back to work? Are the restaurants and the lounges and the bars that I work at, are they still going to be operating? And so instead of you waiting to figure that out, to say, I'm going to wait and see what happens, you take control of your own life and you say, you know what? I am going to make sure that I work and level up in ways that I know I have the ability to at this time while raising a son. And, this goes back to, if I was a single mom, that would be a lot harder to do. But it really starts with you choosing to make that choice mentally. And then when you align yourself, you're going to say, hey, what is the next step? You will figure it out. Because when someone is depending on you and there is no other way, you will make it work. You will be determined. That's just our nature. So, and that goes back to, me figuring out my future. And then I know what my goals are going to be now. Right. So now I'm like, all right, I, for me, dental school was my goal. That's on hold right now. For me, I had uh, graduated a long time ago. And so if I applied last year to go to dental school, I would have been able to get in if I was accepted, because all my credits would still stood valid. But now that it's going forward, some of my classes have expired, because if they're 10 years or older, then you have to retake those classes in my prerequisites. So now I'm like, all right, when can I take those classes, right? But, because I'm a DJ and my passion has always been music, it's always been a tug of war between my left and my right brain. Okay, go off and be a doctor or a dentist, should I say, or go off, be a creative and be a musician and be a performer. I've always put my investment and energy to one side and not the other. And because I was like, I'm already DJ, I'm already making money, you know, do I really want to continue to invest in myself? I'm comfortable. I was honestly comfortable. And so you're like, all right, well, not, and then it was funny, before COVID had even, or the quarantine had even happened, because I've been following it since China. I decided that I was going to get into music production, and I'm like, I'm going to invest into production. And I started that in January, and I'm continuing to do it. And I'm so proud of myself because I've learned bits and pieces as I went, but now it's the consistency like I've never had before. But the thing is, when you're going after your goals, the difference between you achieving it and not is that life happens. For instance, Corona happened, right? And I was already on my path to doing, music production. As life happens, you're going to fall off your wheel. The fact is, how quickly are you going to get back up? So it's like your routine that you were having to practice and all this, you stop doing it. Do you just leave it in the back burner and say, okay, I'll get back to it? Or are you going to hop back on and realize that you're going to keep chasing your dreams and your goals? And so that's the difference between you aspiring for it and you actually achieving it. Do you know what I mean? And so you have to have that ability to have constructive criticism about yourself and say, go make it happen. And that's the difference. So from who I was and who I am now is a huge difference. And so that's why I'm able to really knock out my goals like I've never done before. Hi, Kyla. What's up, mama? What are you doing? Here, I'm gonna tag you in. So this is my girl Kyla, aka Hempress Hill. Seeing if she's gonna accept. You wanna say I do or not? So I'm talking about being a new mom during COVID and learning patience, true patience. I sent you a request. Did you see it? Because honestly, I was gonna do this on my own today, but this is my boo. I call her my second zaddy. Yeah, I don't know if you see it. That's weird. Oh, let me try it again. I'm gonna cancel it. Add. Do you see it now? But yeah, I was talking about goals and how you get back on after you've fallen off your wheel. Hi, honey. So yeah, I'm talking about being a new mom during COVID and learning true patience. And for me, I was talking about my goals and how like I had to put dental school on hold, and then how I invested into music production earlier this year for myself, and how it's important that when you fall off the wheel, right? And you're being consistent about your goals, and then all of a sudden life happens. So Corona happens, people lost their jobs, and now they're home and they have to raise kids, and their goals are on pause. And so now that we have more free time, it's like you have to choose when to hop back on the wheel to keep it going, or are you just going to forget about your goal and put it in the back burner? And so for me, the difference between aspiring and achieving is how quickly you hop back on that wheel to say, I'm going to keep pushing forward. Because I know for both of us, because we're entrepreneurs, that we've had that happen, throughout different aspects of our lives, right? Whether it could be work related, personal, anything. And so, when is a moment for you that you felt like, because you're a dog mom. Hey, you're a dog mommy. For you to say, because for you being a dog mom, it's like it's a full-on responsibility, right? And so do you ever feel like you have, because you're raising another being, like, does that slow you down for what you have to do?
I would say that's what kept me when I was living in Virginia. That's one of the things that kept me there for such a long period of time. Like I wasn't willing to move or relocate or not have the space that I had because I had a dog. It wasn't one of those things where it's early on and some people can make that decision and give their dog a great home. But at this point, I've had Sebastian for 10 plus years, from a baby. So I can definitely understand that. I definitely considered that in everything. And even when I was living home free for the couple years, when you opened your house to us, that was also something that I had to consider, was having a space where he was allowed.
Yeah. And so what I know for you started Hemp Butter how many years ago?
So it's officially been 6 years. So it was about 2013, 2014-ish, right when legalization struck in Colorado.
Oh, awesome. And so, you, for a while, you were manufacturing and you were making it at home, and then you were selling it to a lot of your partners at different storefronts in DC. When was there a point where you felt like you were slowing down and you're like, okay, well, and you kind of fell off of making more, right? You weren't making batches for a while. When did you feel like, what, I want to get back into this? Have you got back into that mode?
So I'm getting there slowly. I've learned that, I've changed as a person. I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago. And there's a point where it became more of like a business strictly for money versus how it started, where I was doing it because I was fulfilling a need and I was doing it specifically for people to have an alternative and as a lifestyle shift. So I would say probably around 2018-ish is where I kind of lost the love and the enthusiasm that I once had. You know, I reached a peak probably around 2017 with a lot of promotional opportunities and just being a thought leader in the whole CBD aspect. And then that's when it kind of became very mainstream. And I think that's kind of what
turned
me away from it, you know? Yeah, I was in it because it was something different. It was new, it was exciting. It was like a niche. And then it just became super saturated. And, you know, I've been shifting ever since.
That's crazy to say because, you know, for me, it's like you want to have a space of your own to be like, I'm unique in this, in this gift that I have. And you are super gifted when it comes to that. Like that product is amazing. And I think that you need to realize and believe in that it is different than everything else. People might not know the difference, but this is homemade, it's thought out, it's sustainable, you know, so it's really a special product. And so yes, and so like, you know, I've been going through, you know, because you were talking about changes and evolution, right? Because we change, you know, after a couple of years of realizing who we are, what we stand for, and what you'll stand by, you know? And so for me, like you said, you kind of got tired of it because you're like, oh, that mainstream. And then I lost my love and my passion for doing that. That was the same with me when it came with DJing. It just felt like a job. It, you know, for me, I was like fortunate to do something that I love as a job, but I never saw it as a job. But then after a while, it felt like a job because I was DJing just to get by at that point. I wasn't playing the music that I really wanted to play. I was playing the music that my clients wanted me to play, and, you know? And so I kind of lost that love. And then I, you know, going back to goals, I was like, yo, I need to, in order for me to be able to play what I want, I have to make my own music. And so having my son and realizing that I want to go after what I really want, and not just because I want him to be able to say, this is what I want in my life and I'm going to go for it. And so I can't tell him to do that unless I take lead of being the example. Does that make sense? Like otherwise he's going to go through life being like a cookie cutter. So everything that we want for ourselves or for me, for my son is like, all right, that this is what I want for him, but are you going to be that example? And so I'm trying my best to be that example. You know, and it's funny because it just tells you how connected him and I are, because especially when it comes to humans, right? We're always talking about each other like, you need to be off your phone. Why are you on your phone 24/7? And I was literally like breastfeeding him, and here he is, you know, tapping on me because I'm like holding my phone on the other hand while breastfeeding at him. He's like, hey, pay attention to me, you know? And I'm just like, all right.
That's definitely your son.
You know? Yeah, it's hilarious. And I'm just like, oh, you know, so it's like, in order for us to, you know, raise other people, have expectations of other people, is that we have to set the example. And so I try to remember that before I make any judgments or anything else about other people, because it's easy to.
Yeah.
It's really easy to.
Yeah, it's very easy to. I agree. Well, you're doing everything right so far. I mean, you're teaching him the things that you learned, you know, on your own, probably a lot, because I know that you had a different upbringing. So I think that you're doing everything that you need to be doing to raise him.
Thank you,
my love. The way that you want him to grow up into the young man that he will be years from now.
I don't know. He's gonna be.
He's
very determined. Like, he's already standing and doing the most. He has so much energy. I don't know what to do with him. I'm just like, you have like 4 or 5. There's 5 adults in this house right now that play with him all day, and literally he still has more energy. And I'm like, I'm already tired, and I'm throwing you over to 4 other people, and you still wear me out. You know what I mean? I'm like, girl. But, you know, I hope everything is well with you. How is the new place? I see that you're cooking every day. Girl, I'm like, I miss her. I miss you cooking for me.
Yeah, I've evolved a lot. So I've been making original recipes, and this is where I'm getting most of my joy. So quarantine couldn't have come at a better time.
That's
so
awesome.
I did reach like a burnout phase, like where I just want somebody to cook for me at this point.
Yes.
I didn't go out yesterday, by the way. I knew that was like one of the things I was posting about, that I was about to cave and get carry out, but I ended up cooking at home once again, and I'm glad that I did. But
sometimes it's okay to, like I said, it's okay to fall off the wheel. It's about how quickly you get back on, and it's okay to like take care of it. That's self-care. Like if you want to take a step back and say, I need a break, then do it. That's self-care. You have that right.
That's something I didn't do in the past.
Yes.
Or when I did promo marketing, when I did my sign business gig, I never took a step back. I never took that break. I literally exhausted it to the point where I just did not have it left in me to even
keep going.
Give it any percentage of energy.
Yes, and that's the difference. We have to like, you know, sustain ourselves, right? And for me, I have all these goals, right? It's a long list of goals, and in order for me to achieve any of it, I have to do a little bit of it a day. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm so used to saying, oh, I'm gonna knock something out. I'm gonna do it for 3 hours here, and like long hour blocks. And I realized that doesn't work, because then you're like, okay, well, I need a break today. And then your break ends up being a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a whole month passes. Yeah. And so it's like starting a small routine and keeping it in your day, and it just becomes natural, you know, because then you don't have to think about it, because it just becomes natural. And you're like, okay, let me get to that. Let me get to this. And so that's the routine I'm trying to build for myself right now. And it's obviously I'm giving room for flexibility, because I'm raising my son, and he's, you know, whenever he needs me, I have to be there. So I have to drop whatever I'm doing and go tend to him. So yeah, like this new mom life is crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad you checked in. I'm definitely settling. The quarantine hasn't affected me in the way that I think most people are affected by it, because I've already been somewhat of a homebody and spent lots of time to myself. I feel like I've been preparing for this moment.
You and I.
Over the last 2 years.
Yes, that's the same with me. You know, ever since I broke up with that last guy, I really went in, and, you know, you were with me every day. I was meditating every single morning. Like, you know, I was living right in DC, and I was not going out like on the regular or at all. I just at home, just like focused, you know, and I think that, yeah, it's definitely prepared us for that. We went in. And so for me, I don't feel like I'm missing out on a lot. And I feel like when you're listening, because the universe, there's a lot of shifts that happen before something big happens. And it's important, like a radio station, that we're in tune. And so I think our bodies and our mind and our spirit was in tune to that. And so we went inwards. Do you know what I mean? And so like when something like this happens, we're not so taken off or taken by surprise, because we're like, oh, okay, we've already kind of, you know, sat ourselves down and gave ourselves a really good foundation before this had happened. And I'm really grateful for that, and being in tune with myself. And you were right there with me. And so it's important that we do that. And it makes me think of everyone else, right? So it's like, I kind of created this. So it was like, all right, how do we get back to ourselves, and how do we find our highest self, you know? And so was there like a really low point? Because I feel like a lot of people, when they hit their low point, is when they start trying to, whether it's find God or have a better relationship with God, or a better relationship with the universe, or a better relationship with themselves. Was there a low point where you felt like, okay, life sucks right now. Let me get myself together?
Definitely. It was after my dog Kalua died. And I couldn't make myself happy. It was the end of the summer, so the weather was still nice, but I didn't wake up when the sun came up, you know? So that was when I realized I needed to make some changes in my lifestyle to figure out what I could do. So I detoxed everything from social media to television to radio, all forms of music. I detoxed from DC by going to California for a whole 30 days.
Yes.
And that's when I really shifted with my lifestyle. lifestyle in terms of my diet as well. And that's exactly what I needed, was just to get away. And as I slowly reintroduced these things, I could see how they like literally affect me negatively or positively, like right in the moment. And you don't realize it until you remove it, from your everyday.
Okay, so it's kind of crazy that you brought that up. So what that is called, when you removed everything, right? Radio, TV, music, those influences, that's called object referral, right? Because object referral is object referral. And it's funny that we're literally talking about this because I've been meditating. I started a 21-day abundance meditation, and today was day 4. Okay, and I literally wrote this down. And Chopra was saying that I think it's like Chopra meditation. I have to double check. But object referral is accepting how life is from how others have taught us. You know what I'm saying? Because we go through life being taught all these things. And so, yes, we're essentially programmed, right? And so self-referral is what you did. So you ended up going back into yourself by removing all those things that were putting an influence on you. And then you went back, and that's essentially trying to figure out, like, what is it that I like? What is it that I want? What is it that I need? Do you know what I mean? And like, you go back into yourself and you figure out what that is versus having society tell you that that's for you. And that's crazy. It's crazy.
Even worse when you do that.
Yes, and it's crazy that you brought that up, because that's literally what I meditated on today. And for you to really bring that up, it really sends the message where we are right now, because 2020, the zeros in 2020 and it being a new decade really is a reset, right? Mm-hmm. And how we do that reset is being cautious about the information that we take in, because we have to question the information we take in, because we're on information overload. We're taking in, I think, 200 times as much information as we used to way back in the day, And so it's important that you do detox from those things, and you know what you stand for. And sometimes, people are like, oh, you're being a little too much, but I know what I stand for and I know what I believe in. And so it's important that those things align, that the things that you stand for, the things that you believe in, aligns with everything else in your life, whether you're buying food, whether it's clothes you're buying, whether it's how you're raising your kids, trying to implement that in every aspect of your life as best to your ability and your knowledge is the best that you can really do, so that's
all we have control over, and we can't let the outside objects control us.
Yes, exactly. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for your time, girl. I don't know what you've been up to, but I need to see you, and you need to see me. You need to see this baby.
Yes, I've been quarantined, so I feel like I'm healthy, and I don't think I'm a carrier, but I don't exude symptoms. So as soon as you feel comfortable being around people outside of your house, awesome. I definitely would like to see you and the baby and the family.
Yes, and call me more often. I need to hit you up. It's good to hear from you, and I'm glad you popped in. Because I moved doing my live from my DJ page to here, because I was like, I want to be more purposeful. And then this is an easier outlet for everyone to kind of search for all the things that they want to just sift through. So, but I definitely want to catch up with you soon. And I love you. Thank you for hopping in and saying hi.
Your birthday was the start of all of this. I think that's the last outing that I had was your birthday dinner.
I'm so glad we did, because normally I'm anti-birthday anything, and I'm like, all right, well, let's do something. And I'm glad that you were able to come through, because it was really good to see you. And it was really good for you to connect with everybody that was there. So, love you. Tell Sebi I said hi. His mommy misses him.
All right. Well, thank you for plugging me in, and I hope to catch up with you soon.
Yes, love. Bye, Zaddy.
All right, peace.
All right. Well, thank you. It was nice to have Kyla pop in. But if you guys have any questions, and stay positive. I know it's not easy raising these little babies, but It's important that we raise amazing human beings because they are our future and they need to take care of this planet. Bye, guys.